Let's f***ing roll.
Welcome back. Welcome to McMaster Studio here in FOCO, USA. I'm Brad Banyas. You're listening to the SaltyMF GOAT. Today I'm really excited to talk to one of our first SaltyMF players on the NIL House show, NIL House show over at Brinks TV. We've come to know each other pretty well. He was a star football player at Furman, recently just went into the transfer portal, and now will be spending his last year at Georgia Tech. He's a hell of a guy, a good leader. So welcome Jack Barton to the show.
What's going on, Brad? Thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, that's good. It's good to see how we were trying to determine last time we saw each other, and you probably stretched it out longer, so maybe I'm just getting old.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm getting old. Well, so a lot of exciting things happened, man, so you were tearing it up at Furman, you had 3 block field goals, leading FCS, all that good stuff. You were a hell of a leader there, so just tell me what's going on in your life right now. Is it hectic as hell or what?
Well, the chaos kind of timid down a little bit. We finished playing against Montana, and a week later I was in the transfer portal, and it was time to get rolling. So essentially we had 42 seniors graduate in our last class. We all kind of came back to win a conference championship. We did that, and everybody graduated, went on their own separate ways, and I wasn't done playing football. So I took advantage of my COVID year, 1-year eligibility. So I decided to enter the portal shortly after our Montana game that we lost in overtime. Got a couple interests from a couple schools, Oklahoma, TCU, and Georgia Tech. They didn't wait around. They hit me with the offer pretty quick.
That's awesome.
And coming out of high school, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech, but they they never offered me, so I jumped on it.
Isn't that funny how life comes around? And that's awesome. Plus coming home, because you're local, right? You went to Centennial High School, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So, fun fact: I knew Jack's father in high school and a little bit in college. So, no offense, Bill, but your kid's a better football player than you. So yeah, Tech is. I wore my dad's Tech jacket. You and I were talking about that. My dad, we lived in Dunwoody, like your dad did, and my dad loved Georgia Tech basketball for a reason. Wasn't a big Georgia Tech football, but so I broke out his jacket. Yeah. So that means it's going to be a good year for you.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure. Coach Key's got it going on, man.
Oh yeah, I really like him. I think. They really didn't. They were a good team this year. They didn't really surprise you. Georgia was very lucky to escape them, but sure. I think next year is going to be really interesting. I think they're gonna shock a lot of people.
Yes, sir. I think so too. They finished up 7-6 last year, won the bowl game, but I think the pieces are kind of coming together for like a championship run this year.
What's it like? What's it like? So you spent 4 years at Furman, had a good career there. You guys had a good team too, like y'all were really close. I can know from you and I talking, you had a good team. The coaches are good guys. What's it like, coming into a new program when like, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here a year.
Yeah.
Right. And so the bonding and kind of really getting, to know everybody. What's that like? I know you're early into it.
Right. Yeah. So I've been thinking on that a lot. There's definitely a sense of urgency with like getting everybody together. I think there's a lot of lack of leadership in the defensive side, and I think it's a great opportunity for someone like me that is established. Like when I got to Furman, I think we went 6-5, nothing special. We all grew a bond, the culture got really good, and it was just, we started winning games more, and I felt like I was a good part of that. I was leading in the right direction, and I think I can have that impact on Georgia Tech. So
that's I know you can, man.
Sure.
You're a worker. You're in the gym all the time.
Sure.
You're getting your grits in. And when you were on our show for at Brinks TV, you were talking about that. They were saying, how do you do it? You just grind it, just keep working, kind of love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So as an athlete, you're an athlete. Jack's a pretty big dude. He's 6'4", 6'5", 260. He's a big fella. So, as younger athletes coming up that that want to play at any level, people talk about Division I, Division II. Hey, look, if you get to college football, you're a good athlete. So 100%. It doesn't really matter where you're at or what you made it. You're in a very small elite class. Like what do you tell these like younger athletes just coming into college? Like the things that like you found maybe hard to adjust to or get kind of a grasp to. What do you give them advice? Like it could be we'll say football in this case, but
Right.
basketball, whatever. What advice do you give them coming in?
I'd say the first month you need to really focus on like the detail, like how the program runs the program essentially.
Right.
And you know, the one thing I kind of like to lean on is if you want to get there, you need to fall in love with it. You know,
Yeah.
like the grind's hard, you're gonna want to quit, but you just gotta, however much you're gonna be able to tell yourself not to quit is how much you love it. So
Right.
you know, you just gotta really fall in love with it. I was telling one of my teammates today, he was struggling with the core, and I was like, dude, you got to fall in love with it at some point, or else
Yeah.
you know you're not gonna be as great as you want to be. But yeah, that's my advice for sure.
I think that's good. I mean, I mean, you're a weight room guy. I mean, I know that you're a weight room guy. And I know weight room is really critical as well to get in there. So, what as far as like the weight program that you guys had at Furman, have you been in long enough at Tech to kind of feel like the strength training side? Is there differences? Do they do things different? Are they doing similar things? Just not to give Tech secrets
Right,
away.
yeah.
I'm not, but I mean, just
No,
like.
Well, I got to give credit where credit's due. Andre Bernardi, my strength coach at Furman, man, he was a maniac, and it was all detail. Like if you weren't doing it his way, it was punishment. You know, so
Good for him. Call out.
Literally, hindsight, we were sitting there like, this dude is a maniac. We don't like this guy. But when I look back on it, man, I think he was one of the main reasons we were so successful because it was the buy-in from each other. Like you didn't want to mess up for your brother. You know, it all comes down to like, if you want to get after it, you know, if you're gonna go mother F people and like tell them like to get this right, they're not gonna respect you. They're not gonna want to not quit on the next rep. You know, so it's all just. Most importantly, man, I think it's culture. But strength staff at Georgia Tech, they got it going on. But you know, I think they're in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. So how about facilities? Just like.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate enough for when I got to Furman. The facilities had just gotten renovated, so the training was real nice, the weight room was real nice, and Georgia Tech's actually like in the middle of their renovation, and it won't be done for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm missing it, but
She'll be gone.
Yeah.
Back to like the old days. I remember when we were in high school, we had the actual gym was like under the stadium. You know, the water would just come through, and every damn weight was rusted. And,
that's pretty much how it is at Tech. I'm not gonna lie, but they're working on it, so that's a good thing. You know,
that's awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome. Well, the nightlife. So you're down, kind of. I'm assuming Midtown area.
Yeah, West Midtown for sure.
Yeah. What's that like? I mean, you were not in a bunch of traffic.
No.
Probably in Furman, and now you're back to the Atlanta hustle and bustle.
The nightlife, I haven't really made it out yet, but I've been here my whole life, so there were a couple of times we went to Buckhead. You know, it's the Georgia Tech and the Georgia State crowd all get together and have fun, but yeah, it's something I got to check out for sure again.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, man, I think you're going to be awesome there. I mean, what's as I think I already know the answer, but like, what's been your most like, what's the thing you think you'll miss when you're done with football? What will you miss?
Man.
I can tell you, I know what it is.
It's got to be game day, man. Cracking heads with somebody you don't know. I don't think there's any other feeling. Kind of takes you back to like the gladiator days, you know, like you're going to war for your brothers against those guys, and I'm not coming out a loser, you know. So that's what I'm gonna miss the most is just dominating the man across from me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
the arena. I mean, it's so funny. We were talking about, people were asking me what I liked about football or missed about football, and I said, most of it was that competing, and it's such a brutal, like, barbaric game, and it really is. To me, it's just kind of a microcosm of like life on that little 50 by 100 yard field, and it's just the team. I miss the team and just everybody coming together. And football's like one of those sports, like, I think in life it really taught me a lot. You are dependent on that guy next to you or behind you. It's not a single sport. I mean, I know everyone gives the highlights to the quarterbacks and whatever, but the reality is, those guys on the line, 360, 370 pounds, pushing each other around, beating each other up, was so cool. The huddle, sitting in the huddle.
For sure. I'd agree with you on the team part, man. The team part is definitely going to be something I miss, but I'm hoping that the workforce, brings that,
Yeah.
going to the office, see your coworker, be like, "What's up?"
Yeah. What was the linebacker guy they had that was the office linebacker, Tate something. It was an old commercial. It's probably before your time.
Yeah.
But they had a commercial. It was something Tate, office linebacker. And if someone was doing something wrong, he was an ex-NFL guy. He'd come flying through and drill him.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I
like,
remember seeing
no
that.
sugar in the coffee, and it's funny as crap. The transition to business is, we had a guy on that was an ex-military guy, and we were talking about, military, you got a purpose, you got a mission,
Right.
you got a, so, and it's life or death.
Right.
Nobody probably dies if you if you miss your quota or don't, get your workout, but business is fun from an idea perspective.
For sure.
Like sharing ideas and then seeing it's more idea, versus the physical side of sports. Seeing that idea come to life is just.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
I can
cool.
see that. Yeah. Watching your ideas come to fruition. Yeah.
And then when people start paying for stuff, you're like, oh, you gonna pay for that? Wow, shit, that's awesome. I mean, because you've been around. I guess you've been around us a little over a year and a half now, and I really appreciate you. You kind of liked our gear, and
Yeah, I love it.
You did some stuff, and you were posting, and that really means a lot to us because it's important for people to understand where our gear applies in different venues, right? Athletes, old people, whatever.
gym.
Gym,
Yeah,
whatever
gym's
it may
big.
be. But you've done a hell of a job for us. But
Thanks.
Salty was very similar like that. I mean, to see your brand kind of grow and see people like it,
Right.
that's the coolest part.
Yeah, like I said, you took me on to Salty before I even did anything on the field, and I really appreciate that. It was an honor to kind of go up with my football play and have Salty on the side support me. Dude, it was a blast.
Yeah, well, you did a hell of a job, man.
Thanks.
I mean, you did a hell of a. Well, Zach Gibson, who I think Zach, shout out, he was a SaltyMF player. He was at Tech, and I think he's at Georgia State now.
Yep.
So rooting for you over there, buddy. We appreciate you. But so Zach was our first SaltyMF player of the week. That we'd never done one, and we just said, hey, let's pick this guy. I don't know. He transferred from Toledo or whatever. He's at Tech. He's like third string guy, whatever. And the SOB went in and beat North Carolina in his first game.
That was sweet.
And I was like, man, we couldn't have picked how the hell it was awesome. But he's a good guy, and we wish him a lot of luck.
It's funny because in high school he was at my rival high school. I went to Centennial and he went to Johns Creek.
Oh, really?
So I was playing DN, he was playing quarterback, and we were just getting after each other all game long. So me and him developed a pretty good relationship through that, and glad to see him sticking his landing at Georgia State, and I hope he balls out.
Yeah, I do too. I'm excited because I've got 4 kids. I'm always, but I promise I'm coming to watch games this year.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely coming. But I also know Zach's brother still is at Tech, and he's like
no, I think he hit the portal.
Oh, he hit the portal,
Yeah.
so he was a lineman too. I thought that was cool how they had.
They got out of there together, I guess.
Because hey, you got to do it, man.
You
Brothers
gotta
got
do
to
what you
stick
gotta do.
together,
For sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, your uncles too played football too, right? So yeah. So
my uncle Hollis Barton, he graduated from Furman way back when. I think
that's
he's
cool.
On
So
the
legacy.
'89 championship team.
Yeah.
So that was kind of part of my reason going to Furman. I had a bunch of offers. Furman happened to be the most scholarship money, so that kind of draw my attention. It was a great degree, and I was like, all right, Uncle Hollis went there. I could slide out there and go see what it's about. But yeah. I think that's about it. He had a couple kids, Bennett and Kendall. Kendall was on the training staff at Georgia Tech, and Bennett was a punter for him. So,
oh damn, that's awesome.
Got some
football
ties.
family.
Yeah, not to mention that my mom's father, he was class of 1949 from Georgia Tech.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
legacy on both sides.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's great, man. Well, it's that venue. I love watching a game at the Tech Stadium at night. The backdrop of Atlanta it's just cool. It's a cool venue.
It's beautiful.
I'm a Georgia fan too, so it's a little different. SEC is a little different from that side, but it's an awesome venue. So we'll be rooting for the Jackets this year.
For sure,
so.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Appreciate it.
Anything you can think of that it's going on or that through this portal process. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. So a lot of people see the transfer portal as someone's going to get as much money as they can get, right? And some of that gets a lot of highlight, hey, that's bullshit, But in your case where you had, a COVID year, you graduated, you love the game of football, you want to play another year. I think that's awesome. Like that's
Sure.
that's a cool thing. So what was that experience like when you say, "Hey, I'm okay, I'm going into the portal"? Like what do you have, like what do you do? You just announce it and you have like an agent that's
Well, you're not allowed to have an agent in the NCAA. You can have NIL agents, which kind of work their
Right.
loopholes and whatnot. But no, you have to send written notice to your coaches. I went and had a conversation with Coach Hendricks at Furman. He wished me well.
Yeah.
He told me that he wanted me to be nothing but successful, and I told him I appreciated him for everything. I had gotten in trouble a bunch at Furman, to be honest, and he stuck his neck out there for me, and I'm glad it paid off because now we got a ring on our finger.
Yeah,
But,
a salty motherfucker. We know how to pick them. That's right.
yeah, that's for sure. But so essentially 24 hours after that, I got written notice that I was in the portal, and I put it on Twitter, and dude, chaos. Like I'm talking so many people flooding your DMs, like from all types of schools. I wish there was a way to like filter it out because I had promised Coach that I wasn't going to do a lateral move and stay in the FCS. I was like, Coach, like I'm taking my shot at a higher level, and if I'm not going to do it, then I'm done with football.
Yeah.
You know, so it was very stressful. I had a good group of friends, and we were all just kind of sitting there around. I was honestly freaking out, like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to be? Like losing you guys, you know, we all had great friendships. But no, so once you finally like land on one, you go on a visit, you go figure it out from there, and essentially I decided on Georgia Tech, and then the ball was rolling like immediately. Like their operations guy were hitting me up for medical information, the whole 9 yards, and I'm just boom, 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 you know, just chaos. So like we had finished playing Montana, and a week later I was working on my papers for Georgia Tech and working on getting a lease to move into an apartment down there, and it was hectic, man. But I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad I'm stuck where I'm at. You know, it's so.
That's great, man. So so most of that really, that's amazing though how quickly, like.
I couldn't even begin to like fathom if we had gone to the national championship. Those guys had 5 days to figure all that out. And that's horrible, honestly. Like, I couldn't imagine having to make that decision in 5 days.
Right.
There's just not enough time, really. But I hope it works out for those guys. You know, Montana was a good team. They went and lost in the Natty, but they fought their heart out. You know, we had great heart, and they had great heart. So it was a really good game, and that was a fun game to play in.
Yeah.
And
well, they're tough, man. You guys are playing in the cold too.
You
know they got to be tough.
Yeah, no kidding. But.
I love it. Well, shout out to Montana. That's what I think I like about Jack. He's hard nosed, punch in the face, but he's a gentleman and a good sportsman, and I think that's critical in life.
For sure.
You know, that's really critical in life. So, I mean, I'm really excited for you, man. I wanted to have you on because, like, literally, I don't know if you were the second or third, but you were early on in one of our athletes, and you know, it's been very fun for me because, and even my partner Paul Chandra, he coaches Special Olympics, the powerlifting team still. So he coaches, and you know, I coached sports for 22 years, and I mean I kind of missed that kind of being around, you know, people that are still excited about going after it, getting it, love of the game kind of stuff, and so. I'm sure one day when you have your kids, you'll be out there.
Oh yeah,
you'll be out there coaching too.
Yeah, it can wait, but I'm looking forward to it. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to push. What are you? 24?
22.
22.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, shit, you got a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so what? Anything else you want to tell the audience about? I mean, you know, this is your stage, man. This today is about Jack Barton, and you know, we're honoring you, and we appreciate you, and we're excited for this next step in your life. And
yeah, thanks, Brad. I'd probably say when it comes to the transfer portal, there's just a lot of moving parts, you know, and I feel like the fans are kind of against the transfer portal because you don't get to watch players develop from their freshman year through. And, like, I don't think that there's a place for culture with the transfer portal, although I do believe that you can fill your pieces that you're missing with the portal. I don't think that, you know, unless – there's obviously a bunch of circumstances, you know, coming in as a freshman, it could be hard, but that's not a reason to hit the portal. It could be that you're not getting playing time, you're a freshman, let's work harder, you know, but if there's like a lineup of dudes in front of you, then I get it. But I would say to anyone that's considering hitting the portal, if you have an opportunity to go work harder than the dude that's starting, get after it.
Yeah.
You don't, because you pick up your pieces there and you go move to somewhere else and you're stuck in the same position, you know, unless, of course, they're promising you something that they can't really guarantee. But yeah, I would just say focus on your craft, work on your training and getting your strength up, and then just trying to beat the man in front of you. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, I think that's really good advice because I think it's really good advice, very insightful for a young man, is life is not easy. And, you know, businesses we started were tough. We've had one business for 25 years and people ask me, oh yeah. And I can tell you the early days of that were just like being a freshman at college on a really good football team for about 5 years. And people don't realize that, you know, there's some points in your life where you maybe should give up because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Right. Yeah. So I'm not saying don't be an idiot.
For sure.
But the thing I didn't like it as watching it and being a coach, right? And I'm not an elite coach for college or NFL, but kids, like you mentioned, culture. The teams we had that were really good and went on to win the county championships and all this stuff, and people, oh, you've got really good players. It was they cared about each other.
Yeah.
The families cared about each other. The parents cared about each other. We created an environment that people wanted to be part of our team. And if you don't let that develop, like you don't just come in. Some people you may hit it off and say, hey, you know, this guy, we like each other. We like each other. But that's not the case. Some people are harder to get along with. You need to give them time and really understand how deep they are, what they're about. And that's the only thing, like, I personally didn't like about like this whole portal thing. You know, you've got a team there that's been believing on you or working with you and, you know, investing in you or coaches or the school itself. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey man, I'm gonna get paid. Okay.
Right.
Well, be careful about wanting to get paid and chase money sometimes because that shit doesn't work out sometimes.
No, yeah, for sure.
You know, and it can hurt your career later in life because then people are like, hey, this guy's not loyal to me, you know?
Right. So I actually had a buddy that did exactly that. He hit the portal with the intent to make a lot of money because at Furman, you know, we got a stipend, like we could pay for our rent, but there was nothing like other than the team.
A new Cadillac.
Yeah, right. Like, so he was really considering hanging him up, and I guess he got convinced, you know, hit the portal and go see if he can make some money. But no, FSU put some money on his table, and he walked away from it. But FSU actually just got drilled for doing stuff like that. So I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot of lack of regulation and all that stuff. But
NIL right now is really nuts. I mean, even from what we're not doing big money, so it doesn't matter. It's not that impactful. We're looking for people that like what we're doing, and we like them, and we really genuinely want to promote them, and you know, want to highlight them and whatever. And that's all we got to offer right now. So we're not going to throw $1 million on the table. But it's odd because what I see is the 670,000 collegiate athletes or whatever there are across the country. There's a very top 1% to 2% maybe that are getting like actually big deals or big deals with brands, Nike, whoever it may be, and then you have all these other athletes working just as hard, doing the same type thing, and everyone's kind of like to me it creates like a class system. Or even the top guys, they're getting all the attention, but it's great for brands like us. It's like, hey, I don't give a shit, man. If you like us, let's promote you. Let's have some fun with it.
For sure. Yeah, no. I think NIL in itself is a great thing. I think that prior to NIL, the NCAA was arguably taking advantage of the players. So I like the opportunity to be able to profit off yourself. Brings me back to destroying on YouTube or Stone Wilson. Those guys, Stone was a kicker for FIU, and he had to shut down his YouTube channel with like 200,000 subscribers because he was using FIU and his platform as a player before NIL. So, and destroying, he had like 1 million subscribers, and they were like, you got to choose either football or YouTube.
That's crazy.
He chose YouTube, but now that opens up that opportunity for players to do stuff like that, and that was one of the major things that I was appreciative of. Yeah, for sure.
Well, probably a smart move on him if he had 1 million followers on YouTube.
No doubt, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, really.
And in life it's tough because when you're, you spend 4 or 5 years of your life in athletics, and it's who you are and it's what you're about and whatever. And that transition, like I've talked to a couple athletes, pro athletes, that transition's different. It's hard. Oh, yeah. At some point you got to go to work and do something to get paid regardless, right? And it's a hard jump sometimes for people.
For sure.
Because it's, hey, I'm doing this every day. I'm working out every day. I'm, doing all this stuff. And when you get to that real world thing, you're like, the excitement you see of smashing the guy across from me in the field, I still get a lot of excitement, but it's not as exciting as that would be,
right.
And,
for sure.
But I just encourage all the athletes out there, hey, like Jack said, just be a worker, do the best you can, keep that same mentality, right?
Right.
That discipline when you move from, where you are now to the next step. If you can keep that discipline and keep excited, friggin' sky's the limit.
Yeah, success won't come to you.
No.
You got to go get it.
No, man.
Every time.
Yeah. And money does not grow on trees, honey. It does not grow on trees, but you got to work for it. But, well, man, I've enjoyed having you, and I know we're going to be around, so, we're going to do some fun stuff, and we'll be with you, man, regardless. We'll be cheering you on.
Sure.
We'll be fans with you. But I really want to appreciate you coming on. I know that you got a lot of shit going on
Yeah,
right now.
no, it's not too bad. But I appreciate you having me on. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Love Salty.
Well, we appreciate you,
so
man. I mean, we hope that this is a lot of fun one day. Maybe when you graduate from tech. You got that degree from tech now. Your salary just went up. You're going to be more expensive.
For sure.
We'd love to work with you full time, man.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun. It's been really good to us, and so we thank all our fans out there. Always do. You guys have been good to us. When we started the shit, we were like, "Are people gonna? What are they gonna think? We're gonna think we're insane. They're gonna think we're insane.
Got to go get it.
You got to get it, man. Like Jack Barton, the good advice here. You just got to go get it. So today we're talking with Jack Barton. Jack was one of our first SaltyMF Players of the Week on the NIL House at Furman. He's done a good job. He entered into the portal. He's at Georgia Tech. Watch him this year. He's going to do a good job, and good luck to Zach Gibson and those guys as well that were transferred as well. So that's all we got today. Let's go.